Natural Resources and Forestry, as well as Indigenous Affairs, Mr. Greg Rickford. Now I'd like to introduce Chief Bruce of Marten Falls First Nation to provide some remarks on achieving the milestone of completion of the Northern Road Link Environmental Assessment Proposed Terms of Reference. Chief?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here this morning, and it's a very momentous occasion here with the Premier and Minister Rickford. We also, I'm here with my associates. I'm glad to be here at this event, and it's a long time coming. I think it's been 2 years since we first announced the Northern Road Link, the start of it, and we're now here with the completion of the terms of reference, and we'll be releasing it at the end of this month. So with that, you know, it's a start of a journey for us into economic reconciliation for Marten Falls First Nation and our neighboring Matwa First Nation communities, including our partners Webequie First Nation, who has been on this journey with us side by side. And I also want to acknowledge my fellow Chief Cornelius Wabasse of Webequie First Nation, who is on Zoom today, and we sat down together in Thunder Bay yesterday, and he told me he could not make it, but he'll be here in Zoom. But with that, you know, it's a very great occasion for us, for our members. On behalf of Marten Falls First Nation, I'd like to thank the Premier, and we'd like to thank Minister Rickford for all the work, and our associates and our staff with the Northern Road Link. They've done a lot of work to come this far, and there's a lot of work still to do. We're going to be moving on to the actual work of the environmental assessment, moving forward with the actual studies that are going to be happening. And you know, we're glad to move forward on this with the environmental assessment that's happening on our traditional lands, Marten Falls First Nation. And you know, it's something that we're very proud of, and we want to move forward in a good way, moving with all the responsibilities that we have to do under an environmental assessment. As I said, this is a move forward. This is a move forward for us in terms of economic reconciliation, alleviating the conditions in the community, the poverty levels that we have faced in the decades past. You know, recently I had announced a state of emergency on education. And you know, there's a lot of work to do in those socioeconomic areas and within our community and within our neighboring Matwa First Nation communities. So with that, I want to say thank you to the Premier, again to Minister Rickford and Northern Road Link.
Thank you, Chief Bruce, for your thoughtful comments. Now from Thunder Bay via Zoom call, as the Chief mentioned, we have Chief Cornelius Wabasse of Webequie First Nation. Good morning, Chief.
You ready to go, Chief?
Yeah. You hear me okay?
Yeah, you're coming live from the Grand Canyon, unless we can change this. Here, we're getting a big echo. just a second. Can you put on cell phone?
If we go on, Chief. Chief Wabasse, are you there?
Mike Fox has got him on a screen there.
His mic is down. Oh, Chief, are you there? Are you ready to go? Okay, if you want to give your remarks.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Chief Cornelius. Next up on our list, we have another special guest, Premier Doug Ford. Welcome, Premier Ford.
Well, thanks so much, Don, and good morning, everyone, and thank you for the comments, Chief Cornelius and Chief Bruce. On behalf of Minister Rickford, I'd just like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank again Chief Cornelius and Chief Bruce for the collaboration and partnership on this venture. And it's been a true partnership in every sense of the word and has brought us together for this landmark announcement. As our province becomes the global leader in building electric vehicles of the future, we're connecting industries, resources, and workers in the north to the auto and EV battery manufacturers in the south so we can unlock the full economic potential of Northern Ontario. And we're working side by side with our Indigenous partners to ensure that communities around the Ring of Fire have access to the roads needed, not only to support development, but also to improve access to everyday essentials like fuel, groceries, and healthcare. That's why I'm so proud to have the Webequie and Marten Falls First Nations with us today to announce that they will be submitting terms of reference for the proposed Northern Road Link environmental assessment. The Northern Link roadway will be a vital transportation connection to the First Nation communities in the north, connecting them to the jobs and opportunities of tomorrow. Friends, working with our Indigenous partners, we are getting it done for Northern Ontario. Thank you, and now I'll pass it over to Minister Rickford.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you, Premier, for this extraordinary opportunity. Chief Achneepineskum and Chief Wabasse, good to see and hear from both of you today. As the Premier said, this is an extraordinary milestone in a process that, in my view, has taken far too long up until the past couple of years, where the communities took leadership and committed to a process to arrive where we are today. The ability to move forward on the strength of the terms of reference, reflecting the leadership and principles of the Indigenous communities to build what we're referring to for now as a corridor to prosperity, to unleash, as the Premier said, and unlock communities' potential, to be a supply corridor for not just the prospect, no pun intended, of development, but for energy corridors, for a roadway that will help move community members back and forth to city centers for other things like health services and economic activity. As somebody who has lived and worked in this area and a number of these communities in a former capacity as a nurse, I can tell you that this is transformative. And as Chief Achneepineskum said moments ago, we are now in a position to get down to the real work, moving ever closer to starting the environmental assessment, and the prospect of a corridor to prosperity being built has never been closer. So I want to thank the leadership of the community, our Premier, for providing the opportunity from the provincial government side to engage so extensively with the leadership of the communities in this area. I know there are other communities that are getting just as excited about the prospect that we have here to open up this area of Northern Ontario and move together as full partners. Thank you, and miigwech.
Thank you. Miigwech.
Thank you, Minister Rickford. That concludes the special announcement portion of today's live stream. I'd like to thank our special guests for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you again soon at our next milestone.
Absolutely.
We're counting on that.
I look forward to that.
Before the next segment of our show, we would like to show you a couple of videos, the first of which talks about the aspirations the Webequie community members have for an outdoor arena. The second video captures a recent visit to the Marten Falls First Nation community by the project team. After the videos, we will come back and present the second part of our session on the contents of the environmental assessment proposed terms of reference. Thank you for joining us. Miigwech.
We're good.